book is actually one of which you have both authored and illustrated. I was wondering if you might be able to tell me a little bit about it.
This is kind of a tribute to my son. It's called Things That Go VAROOM. He was the pinnacle of this book. Like he's the reason why this came into being, really. You know, because again, it's finding out what it is that interests them. And the imagination in kids is just spectacular. And Rowan's just turning 5 now, and he's really coming into his own. And I've tried writing children's book in the past, but it's really been having the child and reading the stories to the kids and finding out what they like and finding out what appeals to them. You know, it's really grown me as a writer, because before, when I was writing children's book, so I was writing for me, right?
Did it help having your own child as someone you could integrate into your stories?
Definitely. All around the house, it's all about the sirens and the tractors and the beep, beep, beep as they're backing up. About 3 years ago, I started drawing the tractors, and I really love the complexity of the tractors. And so I had a couple pieces done already when I thought of the idea for the book. A child, on their own, I feel, they think that reality is kind of black and white. It's their imagination that's the color. And so that's what I wanted to really portray with this. And so all the pictures of just him playing, or his toys, or whatever, the train track with this one, are all just black and white sketches. And then what he's picturing in his imagination, that's the full color piece. And I think it really does give a nice little bit of a contrast on the page. I work predominantly with coffee, actually. Okay. I use instant coffee, and you can't see it always, but with this one here, I work with instant coffee, charcoals, as well as the watercolor for any of the color that I need. So what this does is it gives the pieces a little bit of an aged look. It also is not very relevant in this book, because it's more of something you have to see on the actual art. But if you were to see the actual piece of art, like this is a really good version of it. You can actually see this reflection here. That's not painted on there. That's actually the reflection of the coffee. You can get really dark with the coffees, and if you do that, then it gives it this nice shine. And so you can get almost like a 3D look. A lot of artists won't work with charcoal because black is considered a very dead color, but when you add the coffee to it, you can get the shine. And so a relatively black piece, all of a sudden you can put punches of color in there because of that shine. It'll bring those things forward. So it kind of gives another level to my artwork, and that's why I've never really gotten away from it, even though I started off working with coffee as a stain, just so that I could have like a background splash, and it's really grown from there. And I found out that the coffee can actually work with the watercolors and do pretty much all the same things as the watercolors can. Some of the techniques, like this one here, is where you actually sprinkle salt onto the paper when the paper and the paint is still wet.
Is that in the top?
Yes, this top here,
okay.
You can see the speckling. The salt will actually suck up the color, and so after everything is dried, you just brush off the salt, and you're left with these really neat, like, little speckles. And it's a different way of using the medium. But you can do the same thing with the coffee. So down here is where I've done the same thing. I've gotten the salt in there, and then it brings it up, and it gives you these really neat little patterns. It almost looks like frost if you do it properly.
That's fascinating. So there's a lot of technique involved in art. It's not just natural talent. You integrate lots of technique, which actually helps you to develop a personal style. I've heard that you're interested in two things right now. One was an interest possibly in trying to connect with mighty machines, but also that you'd be interested in looking for an agent just to help move you forward even a little more.
Oh, definitely. You know, like a lot of it definitely is cost. Like right now I'm getting these done on small scale, and so obviously when you get things done small, they cost more per book or whatever, right? I'd like to push this forward. I'd like to see this in hardcover. I'd like to see this all over the place. You know, that's everyone's dream, is to be able to be that person that, oh, I saw your book or whatever, you know, in the grocery store the other day. And really put the last 15 years of my life and my knowledge into this book. And I feel that it's good enough to go big, and I think that it'll appeal to enough people.
Yes.
Especially grandparents that want to get it for their kids. You know, they can remember.
A sense of legacy, even.
Yeah. Well, I find a lot of the children and a lot of the fathers and men that have been dragged to the art show are sort of coming to me because they remember the tractors. They're like,
yeah,
oh, you know, we used to have one of these, or I used to have the 222 version of this, you know, and when I was a kid, I remember driving it and I had to have blocks on my feet so I could reach the pedals, you know.
I still need to hook you up with my brother and his Alice Chalmers tractor that he has I don't know if rebuilt is quite the right word, probably actually.
Oh yeah. It sounds like it.
If you were to have 30 seconds or so to tell Mighty Machines why they should consider you, is there anything you'd like to share?
Well, I think this is right up their alley. When I went to Mighty Machines with my son last year and the year before that and the year before that, it's all about the pushing the horn. It's all about the, you know, figuring out how that crane goes up. And this is based on that. This is the tractor. This is what the sound it makes. You know, and it's about the child too, right? It's about the child playing and being active. And I think that this would work really well in conjoints with the Mighty Machines. It's just, it's right up their alley, I believe.
Wonderful. What kind of work ethic and conscientiousness would you offer to an agent? What can they expect from you if they were to take you under their wing?
Well, right now I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning every morning so that I can get a couple hours of work in before the kids wake up. You know, this is just how devoted I am right now to this project and to the projects to come. Obviously, if I could get an agent, then I'd be able to get a babysitter, and then, you know, I'd be still probably getting up at 4:30, but I get just 2 more hours work done as well as the 8 hours work.